Hey guys! Today we'll be covering a 2014 rom-com film called Deliha. The movie opens up with a young girl named Zelia waking up in the morning and talking to a picture of a handsome film star. She is a clumsy and weird young girl who doesn't care about anything being put in its rightful place. She even prepares her breakfast in a weird way that one can only imagine. After preparing her breakfast, she picks up the cooking pan and sits on the dining table to have it. While having her breakfast, she hears her cousin Taylor fighting with the water guy, who parked his vehicle in front of his place. Disturbed, Zelia does not think twice and pours a jug of hot water on Taylor, shooing him away from the street. Following this, Zelia talks with her friends from the colony, Fatima, Fevzi, and Javier, and asks them to join her in visiting a fortune teller. Later, Zelia asks her mother Isel to lend her some money. Isel refuses right away, so Zelia is forced to steal money from her grandmother's drawer while she is busy doing her prayer. Weirdly, she sets her stopwatch for 10 seconds and mentions that if she is able to climb down the stairs within time, she will meet the love of her life. Surprisingly, she succeeds in doing so. Downstairs, she meets up with her friends and continues on her way to the fortune teller. On her way, she meets with an old man, Kasim, who is trying his best to start up his old car. Zelia hands him an old cassette and wishes him good luck to repair his car. In the next scene, Zelia and her group approach the fortune teller and ask him to predict her future and her love life. The fortune teller suggests they do a reincarnation process to learn what they were like in their past lives, but Zelia scolds him, telling him they don't want to know about their past lives, only about the future. Shortly after, the fortune teller tells Zelia everything about her family and how she was raised as a boy her whole life. Hearing this, Zelia gets angry and attacks the fortune teller, urging him to reveal if someone will ever love her. Afraid, the fortune teller looks around and tells her that she will soon get hooked up with a young man whose names include the letters C, M, and L. As soon as Zelia hears this, she is satisfied and walks out. Elsewhere, a guy named Jamal plans to get a photo studio for his younger and handsome brother, Jamil, who just graduated from a renowned university in photography. Jamal talks with a real estate agent, Faik, and despite Jamil not agreeing to his decision, he closes a deal to rent a photo studio near Zelia's house. Later, while Faik is threatening to evict an old lady if she does not pay the rent in time, Zelia arrives and attacks Faik, telling him that he will have to face her before evicting the old lady from the colony. Jamal, who is with Faik during the fight, seems to have fallen for Zelia's bold defense of others. He quickly pulls Faik away from Zelia and takes him to the bank to settle their agreement. After Faik leaves, an angry Zelia rushes to Faik's shop, aiming to destroy it. Surprisingly, she finds Jamil inside, waiting for his brother. Seeing the handsome and young Jamil, Zelia changes her mind and decides to walk out, but not before asking Jamil his name. As soon as she hears the name, she remembers the fortune teller mentioning to her how her lover's name contains the letters C, M, and L. She turns back to Jamil and starts imagining him as her lover waiting for her. However, she quickly becomes shy and dashes out of the place, leaving Jamil to wonder what just happened. The next morning, Zelia freshens up and calls Javier to meet her downstairs. While Jamil and Jamal are directing the painter to paint their studio walls, Zelia enters their studio and tries to flirt with Jamil. She tells him that she is single and will look great in a wedding dress. When the painter yells at her for ruining the recently painted walls, she yells back and threatens to beat him up. Upset, she walks out of the studio, making Javier call Fatima and Fevzi to cheer her up. At night, while having dinner with her family, Zelia refuses to eat food, telling everyone that she has fallen in love and is no longer hungry. Her mom asks her about the boy. Zelia tells her that the boy's name is Jamil and he is the one who recently rented Faik's photo studio. In the meantime, Tair arrives outside, drunk and singing. Javier can be seen keeping an eye on him from inside her house. When Tair trips and falls on the road, Javier approaches him and helps him get up. Drunk Tair takes a close look at Javier and kisses her on her cheeks. This delights Javier, as she has liked Tair for a long time. The next day, the brothers decorate their photo studio, and Jamal proposes a grand opening. Right then, Jamal persuades a garlic seller to let him use his mic to announce the opening of their photo studio. Zelia hears the announcement and later arrives at the studio along with her friends. She introduces them to Jamil and later interrupts him while he is busy taking photos of a lady. Zelia urges the lady to go outside and strikes different poses, asking Jamil to take her picture. Outside, Taylor arrives at the studio and Javier approaches him to talk about the kiss from the night before. Unfortunately, Taylor belittles Javier in front of everyone and denies kissing her. This makes Javier angry and she storms inside the studio. After some time, Zelia again approaches Jamil and asks him out on a date. However, Jamil refuses and shows no interest in Zelia, making her sad. In the next scene, Zelia and her friends meet at a park. where Javier has changed her look and is providing pointers to Zelia to get closer to Jamil. Zelia follows Javier's instructions, but fails to woo Jamil. Because of this, Javier suggests Zelia spend time with Jamal and win his heart to get closer to Jamil. Zelia takes the advice and goes on an outing with Jamal. The two spend quality time together with Jamal clicking several pictures of her. Here we learn that Jamal is deeply in love with Zelia. Later, when Zelia is talking with Javi and Fatma about her day, Fevzi arrives and informs him about his upcoming performance at a bar the next day. The following day, Zelia and Fevzi visit the photo studio and invite the brothers to the bar to support Fevzi. After that, Zelia returns home and starts getting ready to meet Jamil. She puts on makeup, changes her hairstyle, and meets with her friends on her way to the bar. Unfortunately, the ladies are stopped from entering the bar by the watchman. Rising to the occasion, Fatma pretends to know the watchman very well and distracts him, providing the ladies enough time to sneak inside the bar. Shortly after, Jamil and Jamal also arrive and join the group to watch Fevzi perform. Right then, Fatma suggests Zelia get on the stage and sing for Jamil to impress him. Zelia agrees, and despite difficulty seeing Jamil, she dedicates a song to him and starts singing. Having switched seats with Jamil, Jamal believes that Zelia is singing for him and blushes. While Zelia is singing, an elderly man cusses at her. This makes Jamal angry, and a fight ensues between the two. In the next scene, Zelia is at her house sleeping when her mother approaches her with an eviction notice handed to her by Faik. Because of this, Zelia gets angry and decides to visit Faik at his place. On reaching there, Faik again threatens to evict the old lady as she has not paid her rent. Elsewhere, Jamal can be seen calling his mother and informing her that he has finally fallen in love with a beautiful girl and wants to marry her. Before hanging up, he asks her to come the next day to visit Zelia's house and ask for her hand in marriage. Hearing this, Jamil tries to tell him that Zelia does not seem interested in him, but Jamal doesn't listen to him. He quickly rushes to Zelia, who is with her friends, and informs him that his family will visit her house the next evening for a special purpose. The scene then shifts to Zelia's house, where Jamal has arrived with his whole family. Zelia prepares coffee for all of them, accompanied by Javier and Fatma. Jamal's mother, on the other hand, does not like Zelia and requests her husband to break the news ASAP so that they can get out of there. Wasting no time, Jamal's father asks Zelia's hand for his elder son, Jamal. Hearing this, Zelia tries to correct him, telling him that the name is Jamil, but the family clarifies that they are there to ask for the hand for Jamal. To add insult to injury, Jamil speaks up and calls Zelia mental. Zelia can no longer bear the humiliation, so she asks Jamal's family to get out of her house. As soon as the family steps out of the house, Zelia pretends to take her own life. She locks herself in the bathroom and pretends to jump from the window, but accidentally falls on the floor and is knocked unconscious. Later, when Zelia opens her eyes, she finds herself in the hospital surrounded by her family and friends. Right then, Aysel gets a call informing her about Faik evicting the old lady Efekopsha out of the house. When Zelia hears this, she gets up from her hospital bed and decides to stop Faik. In the following scene, Faik is forcing Efekopsha out of his rented house and threatening everyone who is trying to stop him. Zelia arrives and snatches his car keys, making him run after her. When he tries to get the car key back from Zelia, she traps his head in the car's window. Taking advantage of this, Zelia makes Faik announce to everyone that he will not evict anyone from the colony. After some time, Zelia speaks with Efekopsha, who suggests she might have chosen the wrong guy and is still not able to see the guy who actually loves her. Elsewhere, Jamil and Jamal close their shop and head towards their hometown, Surinje, to attend a wedding. Jamal tells this to his painter, but he misinterprets it and informs a woman in the neighborhood that Jamal is upset and is returning home to get married. Later, Kasim approaches Zelia while she is talking with her friends and hands her a gift that Jamal left for her. She opens the gift and finds a photo album inside it, including her photos with Jamal and some adorable messages. Tayar also arrives and starts making fun of Zelia. Right then, she realizes that Jamal is the one who loves her, and his name also includes the letters C, M, and L. She immediately rushes to the photo studio, but becomes sad after learning that Jamal has returned home to get married. Fatma suggests they go to his place and stop him in time. Fortunately, Kasim arrives in his car and offers them a ride. Elsewhere, we learn that Jamil and Jamal are still in Surinje, photographing a wedding. Unfortunately, one of Zelia's car tires bursts on their way. Tayar somehow manages to stop a football team's bus and asks for a lift to Surinje. When some police officers stop the bus to check on something, Zelia and her group flee on a small tractor. Unfortunately, the police officers spot them and chase them. As they are heavy and large in number, the tractor's speed is reduced. To help Zelia reach the wedding in time, Fatma jumps from the tractor to relieve some weight. Seeing Fatma jump, the police officers stop their car and rescue her. After driving a fair distance, Tayar tells the others to get down from the tractor and walk ahead while he returns to get Fatma. Everyone agrees and gets down from the tractor. After Tayar leaves, Javier flashes her leg and stops a car, asking for a lift to Syringe. Soon, the group arrives at the wedding, and wasting no time, Zelia approaches Jamal and confesses her love for him. Hearing this, Jamal becomes delighted and asks Zelia for a dance. Tayar and Fatma arrive in time and clap for Zelia and Jamal. Tayar apologizes to Javier and she forgives him. The movie ends with Fevzi singing a song dedicated to all the lovers and the couples out there.